A very good evening to all of you. My name is Ankita Puri, and I am from the Marketing and Corporate Relations Department of the University of Manchester Middle East Center. It's a pleasure and honor to welcome you all for this very interesting masterclass. I know this topic has attracted many minds, many experts from the industry, and it is indeed one of the hot topics which requires a lot of uh, discussions and interactions. This is an opportunity for you to understand why fintech is popular in financial circles across the globe. What are the current notions of fintech innovation, innovating financial services? We'll learn more about it from our successful alumni, Mohamed Roushdy, who will talk about the basics of fintech and the cutting edge trends in the financial industry. I see people are still pouring in, and by the time they join us, uh, let me quickly share my screen so that I will be able to take the audience through a bit of information about us. For those who have been interacting with us, know about the University of Manchester. However, for those who are joining us for the first time, this these few slides are of importance and will surely help you to know more about the whole University of Manchester and the Middle East Center. Um, Quickly grabbing up the facts page of Manchester, it's the second largest city in England, and it's very well known for its vibrant culture, cultural scenes, and many musicians and artists come from Manchester. For those in the audience, if sports is your second religion, then you are very much aware about the famous biggest football clubs coming from Manchester, the Manchester City and Manchester United. Not just that, this is one city which is very well known for its entrepreneurial spirit. It's a birthplace of industrial revolution. Graphene was invented here. The first atom was split, which made history in nuclear physics. The first computer was built here, and the list is long. If I have to conclude this slide, Manchester is a city which is full of innovation and creativity at its forefront. Now comes the University of Manchester. It is a university which was established in 1824. It carries a legacy for so many years, for close to 200 years now. We are the home for 25 Nobel Prize winners, which itself tells the quality education which is imparted to our students across the globe. Not just that, the University of Manchester has a triple accreditation by the Association of AMBAs, AACSB, and EQUIS. The MBA stood fourth in UK, 10th in Europe, and 30th globally as per the latest Financial Times ranking. So this is where we belong to. And let me talk a bit about the University of Manchester Middle East Center. We are currently in our 15th year of establishment, and we stand with pride. We got established in 2006, and we are a home to 100 plus nationalities. More than 1,800 plus students graduated from our MBA, and our student support base is more than 2,800 plus across the programs which we offer. The most sought after program which we offer is the Manchester Global Part Time MBA, the dual degree program, the Kelly Manchester Global Part Time MBA, a special program which suffice the needs of people coming from educational industry. We offer part time MA Educational Leadership in Practice. people who have a flair or who want to explore their career in MSc in real estate, we offer part-time MSc real estate program for them. And the newest addition in our bouquet of programs is part-time MSc financial management. So these are the various programs which are offered from the Middle East Center. Would like to share here that Middle East Center is one of the fastest growing international center of the University of Manchester across the globe. We have total 6 international centers, as you see on your screen. We have it in Singapore, Dubai, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, Hong Kong, and Manchester itself. So this is the span of our existence. This is where we are all spread. And we make sure that the education reaches to the right hands by our academicians who are ensuring that the quality education reaches your doorsteps without you um, giving up on your employment or your business setup in your respective region. So this was a very quick brief for about who we are, what are our roots, and where do we belong to. And this gives me an opportunity now, and looking at the attendees who are already in with us, I take this slide as an opportunity to introduce our one of our alumni, Mohamed Roushdy. A quick brief about him, and then I will open up the panel, the entire forum for discussions. Mohamed Roushdy is a profound information technology professional with more than 20 years of extensive experience in different industries and business segments, attaining 15 years experience as Chief Information Officer and CXO Advisor in leading organizations in GCC. Rushdie demonstrated success by leading and fostering teams to complete major business and digital transformation programs. With a strong IT background, he charted success by constructing the IT organization and system of 4 startups financial services in the MENA region. He also achieved the first conversion ever for conventional bank to Islamic bank. I would like to highlight some of his recognitions. Muhammad was nominated as one of the top 50 CIOs in the Middle East at the IDC CIO Summit 2021. Top 50 digital leaders in the Middle East CXO50 by CXO Insight Middle East in 2020. Top 50 CIOs in the Middle East by CNME magazine in 2012. And not just that, Manchester Business School Distinguished Ambassador of the Middle East Center, where he obtained his MBA degree from. A distinguished speaker at major regional and international conferences about fintech, proptech, disruptive technologies, blockchain, you name it, and he is there as a speaker. He is the member of the Arab Monetary Fund Fintech Working Group. I welcome you, Mohammed,
Thank you.
on this forum, and it's a pleasure to have you with us. Would you like to say a few words to our audience before we start the question and
Yeah.
answers?
Thank you a lot, Gita. Thanks a lot for the introduction and your kind words, and welcome for all our members which is attending right now. It's a great opportunity to be with you and talk with you on a very interesting topic about fintechs and innovation. I think innovation and digitalization or digital transformation era we are in today, it's cannot be compared by any other time. I think it's very fast, and very innovative. We are in a very innovative era, and I call it entrepreneurship era as well. And I believe this is, touching all our lives. And I think it's very positive for each and every one of us. And it's a good opportunity for us to learn and know, the new norm is here is digital transformation and digitalization. Fintech is part of it, and I would love to talk about it much more today. And really, I'll be appreciating as well your questions and your thoughts as well. We need to make it interactive today. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mohammed. On this note, I'll just stop sharing my screen so that we can have an interactive panel
Thank
mode.
you.
To all the attendees who have joined us late, um, we have just kickstarted this discussion with Mohamed Roushdy. Feel free to put your questions in the question answer box or in the chat box, and I'll try to pick up your questions and bring forward in the discussion with him. Mohammed, we maintained it with our audience before the launch, before we go live here, that we are surely going to touch base with the ABCD of the financial technologies, and eventually we'll take up the discussion. So I have my first question to you, which so what are the major technologies underpinning fintech? I mean, I have heard of blockchain, artificial intelligence. Are there others? Would you like to share some views on that?
Thank you. Fintech, financial technology is like, it's very important to also, there's some kind of debate. Is it, how long was it? Is it new? It's old? It can be both, really. I believe fintech started becoming, very trending 10 years back, since 2008, after the financial crisis. And there is some kind of decentralization. Some thoughts came from different, entrepreneurs and leaders, and they came with the technology advancement as well. The model came like, why we are not able to do all our transactions, online digitally? Why I have to visit a branch or a bank? Even on the extreme as well, why we need to use banks? And then came, the Bitcoin, different blockchain, and so on came into place to remove the intermediaries. So no need for banks, because there's some kind of trust element went down after the financial crisis. So entrepreneurs, people which is came, or maybe some people also, I said, lost their jobs during this time, came with some ideas of, okay, let's build something else, because banks didn't help us at this time, and we were really having an issue because of banking. To build it, then you need to remove the bank from the equation. Then why you don't use, what is come with the Bitcoin and blockchain, which you remove the intermediaries. Though blockchain till date is like, there's some good use cases around blockchain in financial services, mainly in in transfer, cross-border transfer and so on, and CBDC. Right now there is some kind of central bank digital currencies. It become one of these. The other technologies, like mainly AI and mobility. I think mobility is the biggest one, I would say, because if you can see now, the biggest thing fintech is bringing to you, to us, to everybody, that you can do each and everything you used to do it physically in the branch, you can do it by yourself or over the mobile. That's why I used to tell people in different talks and speeches, which is the keynote I have today, your bank branch is your mobile device. So the mobile device become your bank branch, or might be your bank. The whole bank for you as a customer is your mobile. So the mobility become an essential, or I think more, I call it sometimes the iPhone moment. People say, why iPhone? Because iPhone is the one brought the mobility. Before Android, for everything else, it came from iPhone. So Apple came with this one, with iPhone, with the smartphone. So the smartphone, when it comes, and we start building around apps, and these apps become technology apps, become financial technology, it become travel apps, it become all this kind of apps we are having, is the one really make a disruption for our business model. And some of these apps, or the fintech apps, or fintech digital banks, or new banks, started also targeting the customer directly by busing the bank. And here is I call it the disruptive fintechs. There's other fintechs. We can talk about the type of fintechs. There are some fintechs which work with banks, which is they help the bank to sell to the its own customers, and then it makes the process better. It even fills some gaps the banking is having. There's some other disruptive fintechs which started selling the same bank product, like instead of doing payment or transferring your money through a bank, you can do it through a mobile app or a new bank or a challenger bank. Then these guys start disruptive nature, where they talk to the bank customer directly, and they're taking, a part of the bank buy, or the bank market share. So different technologies really brought this fintech. The underlying model is a big thing here. It's like you brought a model where you have everything in an app, in a mobile. You have biometric now, so we are able to see who you are, because a very important thing here is identity management. If I am not able as a bank or a customer or an app or a fintech to know you as a customer, that this is truly you, then I won't be able really to go and put this app for you. So the identity management, the biometrics, ability to know from your face that and your ID that you are both the same guys, and this is nothing wrong here. All of this brought really the fintech in place.
Very, very well said. The introduction of biometric helped somewhere in getting the element called consumer trust, because apart from other challenges or barriers which were there at the time related to regulatory or technology, the consumer trust directly triggers the mind for cyber security, which is top of the mind of the people. So would
Right.
you like to tell a bit about what does fintech need to build a confidence and trust by the consumer on this technology?
The first thing here, there was a debate initially, shall fintechs be regulated or not? Of course, they should be regulated. So, fintechs, I think some fintechs started working or operating in some markets, only not all the markets they can, without regulation in the beginning, because, they're taking care of all the elements. And then later on, they found that, to win the trust, you should get some kind of a regulatory body approval or blessing that yes, you guys are doing the right thing, and we're able to, safeguard the consumer. So the regulatory bodies become, a very important, element here. And what happened in the beginning, because regulator cannot understand the fintechs, because fintechs means you can come with different ideas. Under fintechs, you have payment, you have capital markets, you have financing, too many things are there. So the regulators start opening what we call a sandbox. Sandbox means an environment where the fintechs can go work with the regulator, explain to them what they are trying to achieve. Regulators look at what they are doing, and then they come up at end with either a sandbox license or a trial license or a full regulation at end. So the regulatory body here started playing. Last 2 years, really, we have seen even in our region here, we have Fintech Hive in Dubai, in the FC. We have Abu Dhabi Global Market and Hub 71 in Abu Dhabi, Fintech Bay in Bahrain, Fintech Bay in Bahrain, Saudi Fintech in Saudi, Qatar Fintech Bay. All of these, Oman and Kuwait, they have their own as well. So GCC, for example, Egypt and other. So everyone start building what we call an ecosystem. So ecosystem here came, and they brought all these players, and they started working with them. And I think this is one of the most important elements to get the trust of consumer to use fintechs.
Absolutely, very well said. Indeed, this ecosystem has to work hand in hand so that the evolution comes out. I have a question, Mohammed, from the audience.
Yes.
Abdel Kader is asking, what is the process to validate new fintech idea in Dubai?
Yes, thank you, Abdul Qadir, for asking. This is a very interesting question here, because people we start trying to see how can we really validate these ideas. The best way here is like you come with your idea, you put it into practice, you put some strategy, you put your market segments, and understand who you are targeting from your customer and so on. Put this one and start working with one of the, as I said, the sandbox, the fintech players in the region. So you can take this one, and there is very interesting here is happening that we have lots of forums, workshops. Some banks as well start opening their sandbox for new ideas, and there is lots of I can say like competition or some kind of contest. People go there and show what they are trying to do to these banks or to the regulator or to the fintech centers. So this is one of the best places really for innovation and to flourish. So we have here, if you are in UAE, Fintech Hive is an example, and there is another one in UAE. We have 2, 3 other incubators as well. Incubator even before the accelerators. These digital incubators can help you a lot to go and validate the idea. And then some people they're mentoring and so on. They can even help you out till you reach to a point. But this needs some kind, as I said, like you need to have some, your thought has to be properly articulated. It needs to be addressing a problem or an issue, something people, the consumer need or the banks need. And then you can go and work with this kind of, call it innovation hubs, to get their feedback. And lots of banks are also, part of these innovation hubs. So they are bringing all the stakeholders or ecosystem partners. You have the regulators, you have the, some banks, which is they are in banking, they know about these ideas or the market. And then they have some, technology companies who are leading in the blockchain, for example. You're going to see some blockchain providers or technology companies, they can help. Even sometimes they get some investors as well to be on there. So we need to connect and network with this kind of innovation hubs to validate your idea.
Great. I hope that answers Abdul Qadir's question. While I move on to the next question, I saw many people joined us a bit late. If you have questions, feel free to write it in the question answers box or on the chat window. I'll pick it up from there. Mohammed, I have one question here.
Yes.
I strongly feel that the pandemic accelerated or influenced fintech. It, if not evolved, it does it accelerated the adoption of fintech? Did it bring any kind of an influence in the adoption rate of fintech?
Thank you. Very interesting question. Thanks a lot for asking. Truly, yes. The pandemic, I would say affected each and everything you are doing. So in a way or another, it is, it speed up the fintech adoption, and speed up it in different ways. First of all, consumers started working online. So you cannot just today, like before, people was hesitant to use the digital online, paying, doing payment and so on. This is started to become a normal for people. And there's something else, I call it the marriage of fintech and e-commerce. So e-commerce started flourishing because everything we used to buy online. So it means payment, it become, very easy. Everybody start paying online. And then people, okay, with consumers, they come even with innovative products. It was there before, but it become really very popular now. Buy now, pay later. You buy anything, you pay over, a few months or whatever, like a microfinancing. So all of this, it becomes because of the pandemic, because, it facilitates people going online, it facilitates the e-commerce, and at the same time, banks started, to shut down some branches. Most of the branches was closed down in some areas and some places. So banks started to put their own digital footprint, and they started also to look at fintechs to help them out in some gap in areas or gaps they are having. So really, yes, the adoption become very high compared to before because of the pandemic. And we call it, we used to be cashless, and now we can say, okay, or payment, it become now, frictionless, because you want to pay even without putting your PIN. You want to pay, remotely. You put your card like that and you pay, or through a wallet. Even you don't like to make, the interaction even from near. So all of this, because of the pandemic, actually, it helps a lot.
So when you say there is an adoption, there is an increase in adoption rate of fintech. So who has benefited most out of this adoption?
The benefit is the consumer, because you start making things easier for people. Fintechs started getting more funds, and I can tell you, some of the fintechs in our region here, Nowadays, the funds and the VC's money used to, during the pandemic, went more for e-commerce and logistics for a short time. Before it was fintech, now it's going back to fintech again, because people could see that the ecosystem of fintechs need to be enhanced, because it affects everywhere. And when you are buying, you are selling, you are doing B2B business, B2C business, there is payments happening, there is financing happening. You want to get some kind of loan or financing. All of this really it comes through because of the pandemic. Now I would say the fintech companies are big winners. The ecosystem is a winner, because now the attention came, and I think people now also realize that this small nimble organization would have something to play. But it's very important to tell they have to play with banks and others. It's not like a mono, like before people used to say, fintechs will replace banks. But now fintechs are not replacing banks. Banks is not really killing fintechs. Both of them are working together, and both of them are having something to play and to do for the consumer and for companies.
That's a very interesting quote you made, that there is some kind of an assimilation coming between fintech and the bank
Yes.
setup. So it gives me another question in my brain, that who is driving fintech at the moment?
What is driving fintech at the moment is two things. As consumer demand and appetite. If you don't have a business, I would say, if you don't have a need for the business, nobody will do it. So unless you have a success and you are able to show that you are making a good value, you wouldn't be able to live, to survive in any business environment. So I believe what's happening here is that the reaction to the digital and online played a very good role, and now the VCs and fund managers and so on started seeing that there is over 10 years from today there is something else will happen. The way we do banking and finance has to change. So lots of money started going in this area. So we are building something you must see it in 10 years from today, what you call, for example, embedded finance. Just to let you know something important, you wouldn't really to go to a bank maybe in 10 years from today to do anything, because we see that what you call embedded finance will be there. You don't need to, if I need to buy a car, I go to the showroom, I buy the car, and everything will happen on the back end, on the background. I don't need to go to a bank and apply for my paper and so on. This is what we are happening. Even for buy now, pay later, for example, when you are buying the goods, nobody asks you, give me your bank account or whatever. Yes, it's 1,000 or 2,000 dirhams, maybe the maximum. But at the same time, people do not really have to do all this due diligence before. It become an embedded finance, we say. The same time, banking in some areas, they found, okay, we have a gap here. We can build it ourselves, but there's some innovators or innovation guys there. They are very good. They are very fast. Why you want to play with them? Work with them. So you can find here it's a win-win. So the ecosystem itself started, helping this innovation and so on.
Okay, I have another question which is coming from the audience. What are the names of fintech banks which are legally operating in UAE or GCC or anywhere else in the world? It has been asked by Noman.
Fine. You mean the fintechs which is regulated, you mean an example only? There are many, Noman, but I can tell you, you have, for example, I give you one of the fintechs. Recently, Commercial Bank of Dubai, they have a company called Now Money. Now Money, what they do, they for blue collar, which is you earn very little money. These guys, for them to get the money from the bank or ATM, and they go and to one of the exchange houses to send to back home. Most of them, they send their money back home, of course, and they keep little here and so on. this does take time and effort, and they pay. Maybe if you're gonna imagine you are sending a 1,000 dirham and you are paying 15 dirham for it, it's unfair, because 15 dirham, for example, for such guys or laborer or maids or whatever, it's a good money for them sometimes, or even 25 dirhams or more. So this guys, they came, it's one, they call it a new bank as well. They came with a mobile app, with a mobile for blue collar. The money comes to an account in one of the banks. The bank, like, I think they have with CBD and others. And then this blue collar guys, they have a mobile app, very interesting one. As soon as the money comes in their account, it comes. They open virtual account with one of the banks. They are able to take this money, transfer it immediately to their home country. They got some, places to transfer from. They give them a good rate as well. They make like 2-3 places to make money transfer, and then they use it. So at the same time, they get some, a little bit of fraction from them, and even they help them out later on for other, for their own financing later on. So this is like something which is helping a problem with what you call blue collar. Another company in the other side for SMEs. Your SMEs financing is something not there in banking. It's there in banking, but not most of banks, they make it difficult. Not make it difficult because of the risk profiling of SMEs. It does take time, So what these guys, I think, behind one of the companies, they do SME lending. You can put it's peer-to-peer, me and you can be also investor there. You put you give them your company. You said, this company, I need to, I have a coffee shop, for example. I need to open a new branch somewhere else in one of the malls. And this is my history. They check it out and they make some risk categorization. And then they put your venture on the platform. And they said, okay, this company needs 200,000 dirhams. This will be over this number of months. It will be profit or interest rate based on Islamic or convention will be this much of money. And then ask the investor or people like me and you to put. You can put 10,000 dirham, 50,000. If you put 10,000 in a bank, you will not get much really. But if you put it there, and you're gonna get, because you get a better return here, because it's between you and the venture, and the platform plays like a platform only. They took some fees. So this has become a good place for you to invest your money, and good place for the companies to get faster financing, because it comes within 1 week. If the paper is okay, you can get their money. While it goes on the bank, it takes maybe a month or take even more. And now it's very interesting to see the collaboration. Some of banks said, okay, this is very good model. Why don't you take this? They took the company and white label it, and they start working with them to bring SMEs inside. So this is 2 examples of fintechs which is regulated here. I believe both regulated from DFSA or DIFC. So it is like, there is some regulation come from central bank. There's some other regulation comes from this, free zone financial services like the DFSA and ADGM in Abu Dhabi.
Great. There are a lot of questions which are pouring in the Q&A box and the chat box both, but there is one question which is which is leading to more interesting further topic of cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin has grabbed headlines here and there throughout the pandemic, and now it's again, it's like a talk of the town. So how important are cryptocurrencies to fintech ecosystem, which we discussed some time back?
Okay, I touch on that. Fintechs it has different areas. One of these is we call it digital assets. So digital assets, it is like you can say like cryptocurrency and blockchain. It's in the digital assets area. Cryptocurrency still is not regulated, is not still accepted from regulatory bodies here in the whole region. I think worldwide we have the same concern about the volatility, the speculative, speculation around it. The prices goes up and down. You can see, Bitcoin, from 60 become 30 within hours or days. So these things are a bit, something you have to be cautious about it. Though these cryptocurrencies came and brought some very good concept, which is blockchain. From an enterprise blockchain point of view, is doing great. There is many use cases happening there. And now central bank goes for something called central bank digital currency, CBDCs, either a retail or a corporate or wholesale digital currencies. And this one definitely the ecosystem of digital currency or cryptocurrency to become, we have sort of crypto or digital currency to digital assets regulated. So cryptocurrency and this kind of mode will be there. It will not go, but it will be some kind of correction, sometime, some correction, some, enhancement. We have to wait and see, and people have to be very, very cautious when they're investing in this kind of instruments. But definitely there is mood of a stable coin, for example, which is a digital currency, big, or has a relation with other asset or some other currencies or a group of currencies, so the fluctuation will not be high. These moods are good because this will serve the economy. But while the other one like Bitcoin, there is something called DeFi, decentralized finance, is some very good progress as well, and has a good future, hopefully. All of this, I think, is taking time till stabilization happens. So you can go for it. I would say it will be there. It will not vanish. We have lots of trillions, or 200 or 100, 200 trillion, whatever, or more. We have lots of big money over there, but it will not go. But you have to be cautious, about it, and wait till we see. We're gonna see something soon here in the region for central bank digital currency. We have in Saudi digital currency for wholesale, for transferring money between the two countries, and the project came with very good results. So other places in the world, they are doing the same. So might reach to something which is more regulated, more safer to use.
Okay, so Noman is keen to know on similar note, which you just addressed more or less, because Noman Kamar is asking, what is the current legal framework for cryptocurrency in GCC or in UAE, and which cryptocurrencies can be traded legally and we will be able to receive money in our local bank accounts in UAE?
Not there, no, man, this is not there, like as per, on inland regulation in all GCC countries, it's not regulated. There is no any cryptocurrency regulated. We have here only recently there is some regulation for cryptocurrencies exchanges in BitOasis in Abu Dhabi Global Market. There are another two in Bahrain for regulated in these free zones only. I think you can talk to these guys and see how they are operating, but from the homeland or the real central banks and so on, this is not there.
Okay. There's a question from Abdel Kader. NFT considered as digital asset is the question he is asking.
Yes, this is when we come to blockchain and the digital currency or the crypto came with a very interesting stuff, actually. That's why, like even more trading and so on in Bitcoin and whatever currency, because people, I don't know how much percentage is, most of it is speculative, it's like people are just trading, but now here NFT and others, it came with, blockchain came with a very interesting, concept, which is tokenization. Now we can tokenize anything, especially the illiquid assets. You have a great painting somewhere, and this great painting, it's a physical asset. You cannot do anything with it. If you tokenize this one, and you can put it in the ecosystem of crypto or whatever, this tokenization, you can use it for, or you can make some kind of benefits here, or some renting, or whatever income you can get. For example, real estate. Let me take you something which is really even better than that. Real estate, for example, we have some good use cases. There's a building around, and then you cannot buy this building, or you or me, right? But if you have 10,000 dirhams or 100,000 dirhams, you still can buy a share, right? What people go, they tokenize this building, and then the tokenization, they put it on one of the exchanges, and you start buying and selling this kind of token. And this token, this building will be rented out, and the income of the rent will come to the token holders. And still now, if this is grow, you can even sell your tokens. So tokenization here for illiquid asset is great. NFT is part of them for the art. So anything you can tokenize. So now the same in financial services, over loans, financing, You can tokenize. NFT is part of them, and it's a good, as I said, it's a good thing happening. Some of the art, people which they own it somewhere, you might not be able to get anything from it, but if you tokenize it, then it can have a value. But again, I'm just telling anything in the crypto. My advice is to be cautious when you are investing, because people see you invest based on your appetite and don't invest something which you really need. Maybe you can use some of your money, some of your saving to try and test, because now we still, it's nascent, and things are new. And as you can see, Bitcoin from 60 becomes 35, 31. It's the same. It might go up again. So you have to make sure you are okay with that. But NFT, one of the good progress here and of the crypto world, and DeFi, decentralized finance, is another thing where you can do loans, financing and many things for financing purpose, not for payment and speculation around the crypto as well.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Mohammed. You mentioned a while back about central bank digital currency getting considered and implemented. So does that mean that we are seeing the beginning of a cashless society?
True. Yeah, that's right. I think this is what even before the pandemic, we were being going for cashless. Now, some people say it's going to be less cash, because cash still will be there. We cannot say that will be 100% out, but now we are entering to a real digitization of the financial services, because as soon as the central bank they have digital currencies, and they deal with member banks with digital currencies, and if digital currencies also being cascaded to the consumer, we have this wholesale digital CBDC, we have retail CBDC. As soon as this one cascaded to the retail, then yes, you are entering a real, cashless or digitized, finance. And I believe this is happening. China is leading here. China, and there's two countries, only small countries done CBDCs. There is lots of maybe you can follow me on LinkedIn or Fintech Bazaar. You're gonna see I put many of these papers there, and there is some very interesting chart. I'm gonna just maybe put it today after the meeting about which country is doing CBDC, and some countries are planning, someone is testing, and so on. But a few years from now, I think you're gonna see this kind of CBDC changing a big time how we are using money and currencies. And by this time, also you're gonna have the instrument around it for investment and so on.
Absolutely. In fact, we call it as a COVID-induced new normal in all
True.
spheres of life.
That's true. That's true.
So true, yeah. Now, retail banks, they also picked up, they rapidly started the digitalizing services, as you said some time back, for their own existence, survival as well.
True.
So this kind of a growth for retail and business banking, how will this develop now with this new normal post pandemic? What kind of a growth do you see? If you like to share some views on that.
Banks are changing big time for one reason. Like they have the money, and as well they have the experience, but sometimes they lack the agility. Being agile, being nimble, being fast, and so on. And here, what banks is trying to do now is you can find some banks they start even have complete department for fintechs, or not fintechs, digital banks. They even spin off an area and become a digital bank or a new bank. They started. We have Live, for example, in UAE from Emirates NBD. We have Mashreq New from Mashreq Bank. This is all totally an entity which is all digital banking. And even I think Mashreq, they went even more into the business banking as well. So banks is not stopping. They started long time back, and now they could see. I have an interesting panel yesterday I was moderating, talking about the same. The transformation in banking and what's happening. So banks are really putting big effort here in the transformation, and they are working with fintechs, or when they find a good idea or a good fintech or a good innovation team, innovators, they bring them on board and they start working with them. And this is very smart, really, because you cannot do everything by yourself nowadays. Some people, they come with fresh mind, they can do great things, And at the same time, they wanted to get it more secure. As well, there is the banks, they have lots of things to offer because of the experience they are having. So the collaboration started happening between retail banking and fintechs and innovators. And I believe, this is a good formula for everybody. Some fintechs might be serve the customer directly, and others will be working with banks. And I think we're going to see the ecosystem getting matured with a collaborative model.
So this collaboration will lead to new innovations, something like e-wallets. So, so is there
True.
something?
That's right. Even like one of the e-wallets yesterday, which is won and prize. It's a great e-wallet. They're doing great things, but they have a bank in the back end. It's like banking as a service. So the bank, because either you have to, if you think about fintechs cannot do everything like a bank today. Why? Fintech or even a digital bank, they call it new bank or a digital bank, they take one area only, payment, for example, financing, whatever, and they concentrate very much on it, they innovate on this area, you do it great, customer, experience is great, very easy, very fast, and all of these. But you cannot replicate the same in each and every thing in banking. You need a big bandwidth here. And that's why, fintechs are nimble, are fast, and all of this stuff, because they are concentrating in one product or two or maximum three sometimes. Here's the role of the bank here, because the bank is regulated. The bank can even take cash or take money from central bank. If they cannot have cash, it can even borrow overnight. So it's a bit complicated there. So while this guy's innovating in the front end big time, if they want to build the back end as well and a core banking, this might take some time with them. I was talking to one of the entrepreneurs today in Hong Kong. He's building a bank, and he said, for me, it does take two years, because he's building everything, front and back end and so on. Most likely, this goes the way which is fintechs do. They do a great front end sometimes, then they go to one of the banks and they start working together, or they acquire. So there is ways here, every one of them can really play a good part. That's why what you're going to hear about it a lot is open banking. And open banking, it happened in UK, started in Europe, PSD2, Payment System Directive 2, and now open banking. Open banking allows all the banks, the regulator asked the banks to open their systems, have APIs, so the fintechs and innovator can access for the consumer based on the consumer consent. And this is bringing here a very good, formula. The bank is having the customer data and having all the core systems, which is very robust security and end. The fintechs, they have the front end with all this user experience, great, very fast to do biometrics and all the stuff. And both, if you bring them together, you bring a very good value for the consumer. And this is what you expect to have in the next few years.
Great. So this vision of having open banking system wherein fintech can get integrated and plug and play to give the flexibility to the end user, that drives me to a question, and specific to the Middle East region, where will we get the fintech skills to sustain the development which we are anticipating?
That's true. One of the things which is everybody talk about is the talent. Getting the right people to develop, to build all this kind of innovative platforms. And now, since the world is small, and I think maybe the pandemic helped us to do that, you will see many of the fintechs which are building here, it will be built somewhere in India, in Egypt, in Jordan, in somewhere in Brazil, in Poland, in whatever, So lots of collaboration happening from this part in this time. And yes, still you need more people. People even try to get people who've done the same success stories or part of it from Singapore, from UK, from other places. So you see there is a development happening. There is, that's why there's a big demand on development. People also developing codes, and they are good in AI and machine learning and blockchain and all. There is a big big data and analytics. I think there's a big demand here. And I believe as well, not the pandemic, the online played a big role, because I was talking recently, you can do even all the courses in Udemy or in Coursera and all. So people can even learn from home. You don't need to go, if you're going to do development, you don't need to go to a university to get a degree to do a development for an app or for a platform. I think all of this now become even more agile.
Mhm. Yeah, it does gives cold feet to some when we start talking about AI entering into wealth management. So for that kind of an audience, if we have, probably I would like to hear from you the use of artificial intelligence impact in wealth management.
Yeah, this is very interesting area actually. You see what we call it robo advisory or robo advisors. And this, I think there is a big number of, I think more than $3.5 billion or something by end of this year or next year will be managed by robo advisor. So no wealth management, like especially for retail, is going also in corporates that people like to manage their wealth or make more money and so on, but they don't know how to invest. Some of them are, they can take they can have a big risk appetite. They can have a high risk and high return, like someone going on Bitcoin, for example, go up and down. You can make big money or lose big money. Other people, they are very conservative. They'd like to go for something else. So this robo advisor, which is one of the interesting fintech areas here, we have it here in UAE and GCC. We are having a few companies working in this field. You can you can put your money. You can open an account with them. They do some kind of profiling based on some questionnaire for you, and then they can know your risk appetite, which areas you want you to invest in. Maybe you have someone also religious, you want to do Sharia compliant with Islamic finance. They know what your appetite from this idea. All of this, they profile it for you, and they start, doing investment on your behalf. What the investment will be done now by using the robo advisor. The robo advisor can have different even roles to play. It can be take decision on your behalf, or it can recommend and let you, at the end of the day, also say yes or no. So the robo advisors is a very interesting, mode or model in fintechs, and it's growing, globally big time.
Absolutely true. And um, I think we will get used to it today. Sooner or later, this is going to be the final version of the
True.
processes. Yes. A lot of questions are still there, but I am being mindful of the time as well, Mohammed.
Okay.
But since this topic is a never-ending discussion topic, and questions can range from any level, irrespective of the background the person comes from, because it's related to wealth management overall.
True.
People are keen to know that what more can the authorities do to support fintech development in the Middle East region specifically? If you can pick up that answer for
Yes,
us.
thank you. I would say we have you have really a great movement happening here around fintech, and I think the central banks as well as the other regulatory bodies are doing what we can call innovative hubs. We have as well these sandboxes. Arab Monetary Fund, I'm part of the Fintech Group. We even last few days we had a big meeting, which we have guidelines for for blockchain, for Islamic fintech, for fintech. We have even fintech index for all the Arab world, 22 countries here in the region. So there is, if you look, there is lots of work happening and efforts happening in the scene now from regulators. And the only thing now required that the people who have the good ideas, the innovators, they need to start reaching out to these people, becoming part of these forums, and then they can innovate. I think also a good thing to say, even for open banking, for example, one of the best or important innovation happening here is to open your systems for fintechs. Bahrain, for example, regulated open banking. Saudi gave a roadmap and it's going to be by Q1 22. UAE, we expect something happening this year, hopefully. There going on. There is all the countries, they are working in this regulation, and I think they are doing a great job now. The only thing, as I said, you need the innovator and fintechs to start reaching out to them, because I think it's a big momentum and a big moment for all the innovator and fintechs and people innovative to really start their venture or start becoming part of this big entrepreneurship journey or entrepreneurship era, I would say. But good work is happening, I would say.
Brilliant. And that's quite motivating as well, because as long as we are getting insight and updates of such developments which are happening, probably I'm sure the audience will agree that it is very motivating for us to gain confidence on this
True.
technology which is evolving, and that too post-pandemic, wherein every individual on this earth is taking up every step with utmost conscious thought being given and reviewing and referring to many people. So that's a very
True.
great insight, Mohammed. I'm really apologetic to those who have left their questions in the question answers box, and we tried to pick up most of the questions, but we also ensured that Mohammed has touched base with the topic, which has a coverage not just related to technology, but also its implementation applicable to the global region. A very quick moving on to the couple of slides there. For those who have joined us with an interest for our part-time MSc Financial Management program, this particular slide and the next one is of your interest. This is a 2 years part-time MSc Financial Management program, which is made out of 4 semesters. And this particular program will be taking care of your deep understanding of accounting and finance, growing it up to financial statement analysis skill set of yours, ending up with a greater understanding of venture capital and private equity, and of course, not to mention handling and learning about the tools like fintech. So for those who are interested to know more about our MSc Financial Management program, can get in touch with us. You can visit our website, www.manchester.ac.ae, go to the respective program and fill a callback request. One of the program advisor will get back to you and will address your queries related to program. To address your query related to the fee structure, the full cost of the program is 20,475 British pound. However, we are offering the discount of 15% at the moment. And if you wish to avail this option, you need to apply immediately. For more details, visit the website, get in touch with us. The next intake is in September. And yes, moving on to the last option, the University of Manchester Middle East Center has various commitments in terms of CSR activity as well. We are proud to work hand in hand with Dubai Cares to adopt a school in Nepal. So we make sure that every time we get an opportunity to interact with the lovely audience like you, we try to highlight this step of ours to catch some attention of anyone who would like to join hands with us. So allow me to play a small video, which won't be, which is a very small video, which will not take much of your time, but will surely help us to spread the message in the benefit of these young children who deserve a better schooling facility. So be with me for this short video, please. Thank you so much. Every brick counts. So if you wish to join hands with us to build this school, just visit our website, www.manchester.ac.ae/SR. On this note, I am very thankful to all of you for being a very interactive audience, and I am really thankful to Mohamed Roushdy for taking
Thank you.
out time. Before we started the event, we were interacting, and I learned from him that he had a very long day today, and it's really appreciating, or you were very enthusiastic and energetic throughout the session, and I'm very
Thanks so much.
happy for that. So this masterclass was designed to help um, each one of us to understand the impact of financial technology on the system across the globe, and we tried to cover the current trends as fintech drives innovation in financial services. I wish you all a very great evening, a very great Thursday. Have a fantastic weekend ahead. Once again, thank you, Mohammed, and
Thank you so much.
take care of yourself. Thank you,
Thanks a
everyone.
lot. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Stay safe. Bye bye.